are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, our God. You are worthy to be praised. We give you all the glory. We worship you, our God. You are worthy to be praised. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to this channel again. My name is Ebute, and in this video I'm going to be talking about two types of diminished seventh chord and then how you can use it. And so, okay, before we start talking about diminished seventh chord, let's talk about diminished chord. What are diminished chords? Diminished chord is simply a type of chord, and then you build it by stacking minor thirds. For instance, if I'm the key of C, and I want to build my diminished chord, I just, stack two minor thirds. So minor third has 3 half steps. So you count it 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and then this is my C diminished chord. So any key you are, if you want to build your diminished chord, the same principle applies. Okay, let's say the key of F. Now, if you want to build a diminished chord, just build it, stack minor thirds on top of it. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and you have your F diminished. Okay, so that's the diminished chord, and the diminished chord is usually built on the 7th degree of a particular key. For instance, if I'm the key of C, and okay, what's the 7th degree? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I just build my diminished chord there. So diminished chord is usually built if you are playing the chord built on the 7th degree of a particular key. What you're expected to play is a diminished chord. Also in the minor key, the 2 chord is a diminished chord. So for instance, if you are in the key of C minor, the 2 chord will be a diminished chord. So that's where you can build your diminished chord. And okay, so how do you build your diminished 7th chord? You just add the 7th note to the diminished chord and you get your diminished 7th chord. And there are 2 types of it. And so the first one is called fully diminished chord. So this is how you build your fully diminished chord. So just take the diminished chord, fully diminished 7th chord. So just take your diminished chord and stack another minor third on top of it. So 1, 2, 3. Minor third has 3 half steps, I told you. So you just stack another minor third on top of it, and you have your fully diminished 7th chord. So any key you are, let's say in the key of G, so you get your G diminished chord, and you stack another minor third on top of it, and you have your G fully diminished chord. All right, so that's a fully diminished chord. And there's one interesting thing about this fully diminished chord. It's actually a symmetric chord, and what it means is that we don't have much of it. For instance, if you are playing a major chord, you know that every key has its own, major chord. But when you talk about, so that means we have 12 major chords, right? But when you talk about the fully diminished 7th chord, you just have 3 of them. And the first one is this C, second one is C sharp, the third one is D. So every other one, let's go to the next one. Every other one is just an inversion of any of these 3. So for instance, the D sharp now is just an inversion of the C. If you just take this C on top and bring it down here, you discover that it's still the same C diminished. So let's go to the E now. If you check it closely, you discover that we are still playing the D flat diminished chord, diminished 7th chord. So just take the D flat here, bring it here, you discover that it's the same chord. So basically we have just 3 fully diminished chords. Every other one is a repetition of any of these 3. So that's very interesting, especially when you want to practice fully diminished chord, fully diminished 7th chord. It makes it easier for you to practice. So that's the first one. The second one is called half diminished chord, half diminished 7th chord, or it's usually called minor 7 flat 5. And this is how to build it. Just take your diminished chord and stack a major third. You know, the fully diminished seventh chord is you're stacking a minor third to get your fully diminished seventh chord, right? Now, in the minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished seventh chord, you stack a major third, and the major third has 4 half steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get your major, and you get your minor 7 flat 5 or your half diminished seventh chord. Why do they call it minor 7 flat 5? Now look at it. This is C minor, right? And then this is the 7. So this is C minor 7. So where is the flat? So where is the 5? This is the 5. So you lower it by a semitone, and that's your flat 5. So that's why it's called C. That's why it's called minor 7 flat 5. Yeah. So those are the 2 types of diminished seventh chords, and let me show you a few ways you can use it. Okay. The first way. Let's start from the fully diminished seventh chord. Okay. So the first thing you can do is to precede. You use the diminished. Fully diminished seventh chord when you want to play your slash chord, your 1 chord slash the 5 note at the left hand. So what I mean is that, okay, let's say the key of C, it will be like this: 1 chord and slash G, 1 chord slash G note. So you know this chord is usually used to resolve when you're going to the 5. So you use this chord before going to the 5. For instance, when the song I started at the beginning of this video, I was playing "You Are Alpha." Yeah. Okay, I was playing on the key of E. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you. Now this is you are God. You see, now this is a diminished chord. So what I did is that now I want to play my 1 chord slash the 5. So this is E now slash B. What I do, I just lower this 5 note by a semitone or a half step, and then I build my diminished 7 chord here, fully diminished 7 chord on this note before going to the slash chord. We worship you, our God. You are, then resolve at the 5 on the 5 chord. Worthy to be praised. Okay, let me do that on the key of C so that the beginners can visualize it easily. Okay, you are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, our God. Now this is what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to the slash chord, C slash G. So what I just did, I just lower the G by a semitone or a half step, and then I build my diminished chord there, fully diminished chord. Then I'm using it as a passing chord to go to the slash chord. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, fully diminished chord, our God. You are worthy to be praised. So you can use fully diminished chord to precede a slash chord. So and the place that I use it is a 5 chord. So just lower the 5 chord by a half step. You lower it by a half step, and then you build your diminished 7th chord on that chord before going to the slash chord. So you can use it that way. Another way you can use fully diminished chord, fully diminished 7th chord, is when you are going to a minor chord. So anytime you are going to a minor chord, you can use a fully diminished chord as a chromatic passing to that minor chord. For instance, if I'm the key of okay, let's use the song I started with at the beginning of this video again. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you slash fully diminished, our God. You are worthy to be praised. We give you all. Now I'm going to 1 chord to the 6. Then we give you all. So what I just did, now this is a 6. I just lower it by a half step, and then build my fully diminished chord on this note. So it's like chromatic passing, right? Chromatic diminished, passing to the 6. 6 is a minor chord. So we give you all the glory. So you can use your fully diminished chord like that also. use it as a chromatic passing going to a minor chord. This time is a minor chord. Yeah, this is 6. So you can also do that in the key of C, right? We worship you, our God. You are worthy to be praised. Now this is the 6th note, right? So I just lower it by half step, build my diminished chord here, say, and then I go to the 6th. So we give you all the glory. We worship you, our God. You are worthy to be praised. Yeah, so that's another way you can use your fully diminished chord. There are several ways you can use diminished, that's fully diminished 7th chord. There are several ways you can use fully diminished 7th chord, but I'll stop here for now. You know, as you advance in your knowledge of music, you discover that several things you can do with fully diminished 7th chords and all that. So the second one is the minor 7 flat 5, right? Okay. Now, still the same video, the same song I was playing at the beginning of this video is You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, our God. You are worthy to be praised. Now, we give you all. Now, you can use your minor 7 flat 5 when you want to play a 7-3-6 or a 2-5-1 passing chord to a minor key. So if you are playing a 7-3-6 chord, you can decide to use the minor 7 flat 5 when you are on the 7. And when you are playing a 2-5-1 to a minor chord, you can decide to use the minor 7 flat 5 when you are on the 2. Okay, so let me show you an example. We give you all. So what I just did there is 7-3-6 to D flat minor. So right now I'm in the key of C. So the 7 will be what? Is this. So this is a 7. 7, the diminished chord. Then this is a fully diminished, right? So I was playing this is the root position, first inversion, second inversion. So the right hand is playing second inversion, right? So I go like this. We give. This is a minor 7 flat 5, built on the 7th, right, degree. So we give you, then 7, 3, and then 6. So you can use your minor 7 flat 5 when you are playing the 7-3-6, and then on the 7th chord, that is where you build your minor 7 flat 5. Now let's do another one to go to the 2. So like now, if you're in the key of C, and the 2 is D, right? And the 2 is a minor chord. So you can build your minor 7 flat 5 when you are going to play the 2-5-1 going to D minor. Which is also like 7-3-6 in the key of F, because F is the relative major of D. So if you're in the key of F, what you're going to use as 7-3-6. Yeah, that's, you know, it's just like you're playing the 2-5-1 in the key of D minor, because F is the relative major. Anyway, that's another topic. Okay, so what I'm talking about is to play your 2-5-1 in the key of D. So what will be the 2? I told you at the beginning of this video. The 2 in the minor key is diminished. So you build your minor 7 flat 5 on this diminished chord, and then your 5, and then your 1. So let's sing a song. Alagbara, you are the mighty God. Then Enyila Tobi Ju. Now this is a minor chord. So I want us to play the 2-5-1 going to this minor chord. The 2 will be E, minor 7 flat 5, then A, and then the 2 minor. So it goes like this. Alagbara, you are the mighty God. Then Enyila Tobi Ju. See that? Yeah, so that's that. So the 2 is a diminished, then 5, dominant 7, and then 1, which is a D minor. You are the glorious God. Alabara. So that's another way you can use your minor 7 flat 5. And you can see I was playing some runs here. Alabara. You are the mighty God. I just did some work here. Just add a little spice to what you're playing. Alagbara, you are the mighty God. You are the glorious. So those are the few ways you can use your diminished seventh chords. Like I said, there are several ways you can use this, but these are just a simple way you can start using it. And it's good that you apply this in all the 12 keys. Practice them in all the 12 keys so that it enhances your flexibility. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video up to this point. Please do me a favor. I'd like you to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you anytime I post new content. And also don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.